Taiwan has reported the second largest incursion of Chinese military planes into its air defense zone this year. The island's defense ministry said 30 Chinese jets, including 20 fighters, entered the area. Beijing views Taiwan as its territory and regularly sends large sorties into Taiwan's air defense zone to show its muscle. The incursions come the same day that President Tsai Ing-wen revealed possible future cooperation between Taiwan's military and the United States National Guard during a meeting with U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth.
The U.S. Department of Defense is now proactively planning cooperation between the U.S. National Guard and Taiwan's defense forces. Senator Duckworth also recently introduced a bill that further prioritizes Taiwan's security as part of U.S. military deployment in the Indo-Pacific region. We look forward to closer cooperation on matters of regional security.
But Taiwan's security is routinely challenged by Chinese Air Force sorties into its air defense zone. Each time this happens, the Taiwanese Air Force responds. And one former sailor is there at hand to monitor this challenge.
Shortly after dawn on a southern Taiwanese beach, the first radio message of the day from Taiwan's Air Force, warning away Chinese aircraft, pings through Robin Su's phone. Attention, you've entered our airspace and are jeopardizing aviation safety. Turn around and leave immediately. He could be a hobby plane spotter anywhere in the world. But Su has a more serious pastime. The former Navy radar operator has made it his mission to gather data on military activity in one of the world's most tense flashpoints, the Strait of Taiwan. Chinese aircraft have flown repeated missions over the democratically ruled island as it steps up its sovereignty claims. Tensions between the two rivals are simmering. The Defense Ministry in Taipei calls the incursions grey zone tactics, designed to wear down their forces by making them repeatedly scramble to intercept Chinese jets and also to test their responses. While eating a plate of meat on the table, there are flies flying back and forth, but all you can do is wave them away. We can't smash them and kill them on our own table. It's the same principle here. When our military is chasing away the communist military, it's the same as chasing away flies. In the year up to May, Su has logged 317 Taiwan warnings to Chinese warplanes, 3% more than last year. He also monitors missile test launches and other efforts to boost the island's defensive capabilities. President Joe Biden recently raised Beijing's hackles when he signaled a change in the U.S. policy of strategic ambiguity on Taiwan, saying the U.S. would take military action if China invaded. The White House later rolled back the statements, but there's clearly stronger U.S. backing for Taiwan. China's leader Xi Jinping has threatened to take the island by force if necessary. Beijing says its recent exercises around Taiwan were a solemn warning against colluding with the United States. As cross-strait rivalry moves closer to the danger zone, Robin Su will be watching.
And if you'd like to watch a deeper analysis of the Chinese threat to Taiwan, you can head over to our YouTube channel to watch Taiwan, China's Next Target. DW's chief international editor Richard Walker takes a closer look at the evolving danger from China towards Taiwan. Now, Taiwan has also served as a safe haven for some Hongkongers fleeing Beijing's security crackdown. Many activists, politicians and protesters have fled to the island. For the most part, they were welcomed there. And there were even plans to make it easier for Hongkongers to become permanent residents, even citizens. But now those plans are on hold. Some lawmakers fear the new arrivals from Hong Kong and Macau could be Chinese spies and could pose a threat to Taiwan's democracy. DW's Joyce Lee reports.
Hong Kong activists Mark and Kelly came to Taiwan 2 years ago. They were just about to graduate. The situation became so dangerous that they fled Hong Kong on a tourist visa.
We thought we could go back when things are better, but it's only gotten worse. Many of our friends were arrested, some went missing. It's clear we must stay here.
But Taiwan lacks asylum laws and the couple do not have residency status. They're now working in Taipei on a special permit. But even if they remain here for years, they will never get citizenship. So they will be in trouble when their passports run out.
My passport expires in 2027, and I can't go back to renew it. I'm slowly losing my status as a Hongkonger, and I could become stateless. That's stressful. Obtaining Taiwanese citizenship would give me a sense of security and belonging.
Taiwanese politicians have repeatedly expressed support for Hongkongers since the pro-democracy movement began. But unlike in many Western countries, that sympathy did not turn into policy. Taiwan set up a special office 2 years ago to provide humanitarian aid to Hong Kong exiles. It's on a case-by-case basis. Sources say over 100 cases got help in various ways, but none of them were granted asylum. Polls show that Taiwanese are ambivalent when it comes to sharing resources with Hong Kong exiles. These sentiments are mounting amid increasing threats from China. Taiwan recently suspended a permanent residency plan for Hong Kong professionals after backlash from legislators. Many cited national security concerns.
Beijing can use Hong Kong to infiltrate Taiwan. I believe there are already Chinese spies in Taiwan now, and if we open up further, it would only make it easier for them to come and get citizenship. This is an authoritarian regime that threatens to invade us. Perhaps when there's a change of leadership in China, we could consider relaxing the rules. But for now, Taiwan must be cautious.
Some Hong Kong exiles have given up in frustration and left Taiwan for the West. That was on Mark and Kelly's minds too, but they say Taiwan is their new home.
I'd feel very hurt if we had to go. You've worked so hard to get a new life and blend in. Then, after 2-3 years, you're told you can't stay anymore. Why can't there be more understanding? We've felt the love from the community since we came. Everyone's so nice and they make us feel at home. I hope the show of kindness continues.
Mark and Kelly still hope for a change in asylum policy, but that seems unlikely. And once their passports expire, they will have no choice but to leave.
All right, let's get more on this from lawmaker Lo Chi-cheng from the ruling Democratic People's Party. He joins me from Taipei. He's also head of the DPP's International Affairs Department. Mr. Lo, welcome. Is Taiwan really worried people fleeing Hong Kong could be Chinese spies?
I think this is only one of the concerns we may have. But I have to tell you that over the past years, we have been receiving more and more Hong Kongers coming to Taiwan. About 5 years ago, every year, we admitted about 4,000 Hong Kongers to acquire permanent residency. But now, last year, we have received 11,000 Hong Kongers. So I think in general, we are having a more open up policy to Hong Kong residents to acquire a residency in Taiwan. But recently, the government is talking about and discussing some ways to ease the rules of accepting Hong Kong residents. So there are some concerns in Taiwan society about the possibility of some Hong Kongers to be used by Beijing as a way to influence the domestic politics and the societies in Taiwan.
But how widespread a concern is it, and is it grounds enough to try and curtail the rules that allow permanent residency for these Hong Kongers?
Well, unfortunately, Hong Kong we are seeing right now is quite different from Hong Kong we knew in the past. As you can see that the CCP has been infiltrating in different sectors in Hong Kong society. So I think there is a legitimate concern in Taiwan about the possibility of Beijing using Hong Kong as a way to influence the domestic politics and the security of Taiwan.
But these concerns aren't new for Taiwan, are they, sir? Because it's been well acknowledged that Beijing has been spying on Taiwan for decades. In fact, a report in 2017, well before the Hong Kong pro-democracy protests, suggested that there were some 5,000 Chinese spies in Taiwan at that time. I guess what I'm trying to say is if Beijing wants to spy on Taiwan, it doesn't need to wait for Hong Kongers to stream into Taiwan, does it?
Well, in a way, yes. But I have to say that the government has decided to try to ease the rules to send more Hong Kongers to Taiwan. But some people or the society does have some concern about that. So we will try our best to convince the people that we will take care of the concerns that people have, especially about the national security of Taiwan. But the government's policy in general is leaning towards a more open our policy to Hongkongers.
You keep talking about trying to ease the rules for Hongkongers who are in Taiwan. And you talked about some 11,000. I think the official figures are 11,173 Hongkongers who received permits in Taiwan last year. Can you tell me how many of these will get a route to permanent residency in Taiwan?
Well, in the past, you have to work 5 years and then acquire some of the residencies, temporary residencies, and the government will try to approve in a way that you don't have national security concerns. But now we try to ease the rules by allowing them to acquire the residency in a much easier way. So, and also in the past, if you are studying here in Taiwan, it's very easy for you to acquire a temporary residency, and then after 5 years, you can easily acquire the permanent residency. But you have to study here in Taiwan. But now you don't have to study here in Taiwan and before you acquire and apply for the permanent residency.
But the majority of Hong Kongers who have been given any residency in Taiwan are on temporary residence permits, and they are on the verge of their passports running out. I mean, the government will have to act fast, doesn't it, unless the government expects these Hong Kongers to go back to Hong Kong to renew their passports. Can you give us a timeline by which you all will actually ease rules?
Well, actually, the government has to promulgate the new rules, and if there's no objection, I think the government can implement the policy or executive orders right away. But it will take some time. I think it would be a matter of months, not years.
Right. Well, hopefully this is something that Hong Kongers will be looking forward to, this happening sooner rather than later. We'll have to leave it there for the time being. Thank you so much for joining us. Lo Chi-cheng from the ruling DPP from Taipei. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.